Declare this meeting of the Ware County Board of Elections and Registration duly open for the transaction of business. Invocation, Ms. Ludine, if you do that, and I'll lead us in the pledge. Please stand.
Dear Lord, we thank you for waking us up this morning, Lord. Thank you for us coming here, whatever we got to do for the city of Waycross, Ware County, Lord. Give us a clear mind and a clear heart that we do the right thing, Lord. And I ask you all these blessings in your name, say amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You have the agenda in front of you. Are there any changes to the agenda? Seeing none, we will accept it without objection. No public comments?
No.
Okay, you have the minutes in front of you. Hope you had time to read over them. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Hey, Vernon. If there are no corrections to the minutes, we will accept it without objection. Mr. Supervisor, challenges?
The minutes.
We just did it.
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. I was shuffling through my papers. Mr. Chairman, we have public hearing for 4 challenges. They're considered 228 challenges. Just for information purposes. 228 is the code section. This gives the election staff the authority to go through periodically and look at addresses and things. And so they're not citizens challenges. Okay, 229 would be for example, 229 is a challenge for registration. That can be done as a resident or another elector. And then 230 would be a challenge for voting privileges. So, but a 228 is a review by the office and challenges. So we have 4 challenges, and I have them numbered 1, 2, 3, and 4. Basically, all of them are on Memorial Drive. Some of them are, for example, businesses that have been closed. Some reason that they were registered. Some of these came through DDS. They were registered through DDS that way, through driver license, and then that's how they got in the system. And so what we do is we send, whenever we notify the voters that there is a conflict in their address, residential address, stating that it's a commercial instead of residential. We send them a letter. If they don't respond, then we will send them another letter saying, there's a challenge, and we're giving them opportunities to come up and show, either change their address or to show proof that they are living there. None of the 4 have taken that offer. I mean, we haven't heard back from them. As you see from your data, a couple of them are already inactive. I mean, they haven't voted 2 presidential elections anyway. And then, and some of them is a commercial business. There's one that's been closed many years, and one is a hotel. And and that's, hotels are common. Some hotels, they do allow like maintenance staff and people like that to live there, but in this case, that's not his mail. That person's mail was returned. So what you have in front of you is a report on each one of the cases. Ask that you look them over, and this is the evidence from the office. And if you have any questions on any one of them, however you want to do them, you can do them one by one, Mr. Chairman, or you can do them as a group, since we have none of the voters are here.
For the record, I'd like to read the summary for each one of them.
Okay, you say you want to read the summary? Okay, yes.
Our first one is case number 2026-228-01, Gary L. Barone. The summary says, Mr. Barone registered in Ware County through the Department of Driver Services on January 9th, 2025. Official correspondence mailed to the registered residence address was returned by the United States Postal Service as undeliverable. The residence address listed in the voter registration records corresponds to Motel 6 located on Memorial Drive. While it is possible the voter temporarily resided at this location, the elections office has been unable to verify current residency following the return of official mail. So we have one of two choices: to accept the challenge and uphold it, or to overturn. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Marion?
since the Ware County Board of Elections and Registration finds that the challenge elector, Mr. Gary Barron, was provided proper notice of this hearing and afforded an opportunity to appear and present evidence but did not appear, and based upon the evidence contained in the official voter registration record, this documentation presented by the elections office and the absence of evidence establishing the elector's continued qualification to remain registered at the address of record, I move that the board uphold the challenge pursuant to Official Code of Georgia annotated 21-2-228 and 21-2-230, and direct the elections office to update the elector's voter registration record in accordance with Georgia law.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further debate? Mr. Nelson, would you call the roll for the vote on this one?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Andy Preston,
Aye.
Marion Solomon Gaines,
Aye.
Vernon Chambliss,
Aye.
Ludine Whitfield.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, we have 4.
The chair votes aye. Motion carried. All right, the second one, case number 2026-228-02, Melissa Renee Retry Waldron. Ms. Waldron is currently an active Ware County voter. Official correspondence mailed by the elections office was returned by the USPS marked undeliverable. The voter's mailing address differs from the residential address listed in the voter registration records. Because official election correspondence could not be delivered, a hearing has been scheduled for the board to determine whether the voter remains qualified to vote in Ware County. Is Ms. Waldron present? Does not look like it. Board, what is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Marion?
since the Ware County Board of Elections and Registration finds that the challenge elector, Melissa Renee Retry Waldron, was provided proper notice of the hearing and afforded an opportunity to appear and present evidence but did not appear, and based upon the evidence contained in the official voter registration record, the documentation presented by the elections office in the absence of evidence establishing the elector's continued qualification to remain registered at the address of record, I move that the board uphold the challenge pursuant to OCGA 21-2-28 and 21-2-30, and direct the elections office to update the elector's voter registration record in accordance with Georgia law.
Here a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Chambliss. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. Mr. Carlos, could you read the roll?
Okay, Ludine Whitfield,
Aye.
Vernon Chambliss,
Aye.
Andy Preston,
Aye.
Marion Solomon Gaines.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, we have 4.
Ayes have it. Case number 2026-228-03, John Wayne Whitaker. Mr. Whitaker has been an inactive voter following an extended period with no voter contact. Official correspondence mailed to the residence address on file was returned by the USPS as undeliverable. The listed residential address corresponds to the former Eagle Pond location on Memorial Drive. The returned mail raises questions regarding whether the voter continues to reside at the registered address. What is your pleasure? Oh, is Mr. Whitaker present? Does not seem to be. Your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, since the Ware County Board of Elections and Registration finds that the challenged elector, Mr. Whitaker, is not here, was provided proper notice of the hearing and afforded an opportunity to appear and present evidence, but did not appear, and based on the evidence contained in the official voter registration record, the documentation presented by the elections office, and the absence of evidence establishing the elector's continued qualification to remain registered at the address of record, I move that the board uphold the challenge pursuant to OCGA 21-228 and 21-230, and direct the elections office to update the elector's voter registration record in accordance with Georgia law.
Here a second?
Second.
Second by Miss Marion. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, let's take the vote. Mr. Carlos.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Vernon Chambliss,
Aye.
Andy Preston,
Aye.
Marion Solomon Gaines,
Aye.
Ludine Whitfield.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, we have 4.
Ayes have it. Motion carried. Last one, case number 2026-228-04, April Joyce Altman. Ms. Altman is currently an active Ware County voter. Official correspondence mailed by the elections office was returned by the USPS, marked undeliverable. The residence address listed in the voter registration records corresponds to the Sonic Drive-In property on Memorial Drive. The mailing address on file is located in Pierce County. Because official correspondence could not be delivered, the board is asked to determine whether sufficient evidence exists regarding the voter's continued eligibility to remain registered in Ware County. Okay, is Ms. Altman here? Seems not to be. What's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Ms.
since the
Ludine?
Ware County Board of Election and Registration find that the challenged elector, Ms. April Joyce Altman, was provided proper notice of this hearing and afford an opportunity to appear and present evidence, but did not appear, and based upon the evidence contained in the official voter registration record, the documentation presented by the election office in the absence of evidence establishing the elector's continued qualification to remain registered at the address of record, I move that the board uphold the challenge pursuant to OCGA 21-228 and 21-230, and direct the election office to update the elector's voters registration record in accordance with Georgia law.
Heard the motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Marion. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we will now vote. Mr. Carlos?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Marion Solomon Gaines,
Yes.
Andy Preston,
Yes.
Ludine Whitfield,
Yes.
Vernon Chambliss.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, we have 4.
Unanimous ayes. Motion carried.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I want to just let you know what the next steps would be. The office now is an administrative phase. We can do a couple of things. We can just go ahead and remove them and send them a letter. If they have 10 days to appeal. But what I would suggest is not remove them, put them in pending status. Give them, send them their letter for their 10 days. It's a cleaner process that way, because if they, get the letters and they somehow appeal, and we have already removed them, that takes a lot of, little more effort to reinstate them. So my suggestion to the staff is we're just going to put them in a pending status, give them their 10 days after, they been sent their letter, and then we'll proceed on if we don't hear from them. And then it'll be automatically removed.
Any questions? Mr. Vernon?
I suggest that we follow the pending
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is our administrative procedure. He's
Yes,
just
okay.
explaining it
Okay.
to us.
Mr. Chairman?
Ms. Mary?
Yes, Ms. Carlos, so we've already sent letters that have been returned for the most part.
Mhm.
Okay, so the additional 10 days, how will they be notified? The same process?
Same process. By law, we still have to send them, even though it's coming back. Now, I did in the notes. It mentioned there were a couple that had mailing addresses,
Mhm.
and I'm going to instruct staff to go ahead and send one to the mailing address, just to be sure. But still, their mailing address will not be their voting address, of course.
Mhm.
That'll be just for the correspondence. But to determine residency, we must send it to their residential address.
Okay, so Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
So the one that was listed in Pierce County, I'm trying to remember which one that was. We will send notification to that address in Pierce?
That's what I would suggest, and
Okay.
then change the letter a little bit to let her know that if she is living in Pierce, she need to go ahead and, she will be removed in Ware, and she still will be allowed to register in Pierce County to change
Okay.
the address. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
That's all, Mr.
that'll
Chairman.
help the voter out.
Any other questions? Okay. Next item, number 9. Mr. Carlos?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, we have the unfinished business. Last month we had reviewed a policy recommendation regarding the poll worker access to voting equipment. It was recommended that we send it to the attorney, of course, we always do. And she suggested that we kind of like delay it right now to give her time to, to look it over and make sure, because everything that's in this, and she pointed this out, everything that's in this policy is already in law, but the purpose of the board's thing was just to have something basically just in reference for the poll managers and staff to make sure they knew what was in law. But there was nothing in this policy that was contrary to whatever law is. And she was like, well, is it really needed? So she's going to do some research on that one, because really it's in law already. So.
Good deal. Okay, any new business? How about the supervisor's report?
Mr. Chairman, I have a few items in your notes, in your paperwork. You have the draft early voting information for the November 3rd general election. You have 2 different clip arts we're going to use for our online. I want to point out that in talking with the staff, we're going to go with an 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Early voting time, and I'll talk about that in a second. Only one location, which would be the election office. Of course, the 2 Saturdays that we have, October 17th and 24th, is mandated by law, and that'll be from 9 to 5. Also in your package, I did an analysis of the last 3 major elections, the last 2 elections we had this year, and I went back to 24 to the November general election, and I ran the numbers to look at the times that the voters voted early, and this is how I came up to the 8:30 to 5 o'clock time. As you see that in your package, the heavy time started at 9 and after. We had a few people that took advantage of the 7:30 to 8 time, 8 to 8:30, but not that many. And so since we're starting to do a lot more of data analysis in the office, before we just assume to just say, well, I think we ought to have a 8 o'clock or 5 o'clock, 8 to 5 or 8 to 6 or 8 to 7, whatever, just guesstimation. I said, well, let's go by the numbers and see where the numbers, what the numbers tell us. And so basically the numbers tell us that 8:30 to 5 would be a good time. Of course, the ones that could come early, I know they may be, they may feel like, they've been there at 7:30, but I just can't see, the expense of just having, 5, 6, 7 poll workers there at 7:30, and we have 2 people walking in the door, where we still have the Saturday voting. People have other times that they can come and vote. I'm the last person in my office to always look at, the staffing and how much it costs. If it takes away from a person's, accessibility to vote. But, the last couple of elections that we had, we offered the extended time. The community didn't take advantage of it, and I just didn't see where it would be beneficial in this case also. So, and that's the reason why I went back to the November 24 presidential, 17 days of early voting, because that was the big election also. And still during that time, very few voters took advantage of the 7:30 to between that 7:30 and 8:30 time. Very few. I think it was less than 17 voters or less that took advantage. And we're talking about 17 days of early voting. I just didn't see a need to do that. So that's what that's how I came up with the 8:30 to 5 time. And traditionally I always ask y'all to give input and to give us the thumbs up or thumbs down on recommendations.
You've heard the supervisor's recommendations and reasons for them. Have any questions?
I hope y'all appreciate the whole chart and it lays it out pretty good.
I think that the graph on page 2 pretty much tells the story.
Mhm.
That early morning voting, this really isn't cost effective. And I know that those poll workers, they get up awful early in the morning
Yes.
to be there before 7 to get set up, to be open at 7. And that's a lot to ask of them.
And also you see the 4 o'clock, between 4 and 5, it just falls off the cliff right then. Very, very few.
Till about 10 minutes.
See, we always thought, yeah, let's keep it open so when people get off work, they can come vote. They don't do it.
Mhm.
Not in large numbers. Do you need a
We don't.
motion or directive from us to go with this?
Unless
or
y'all
we
have
just
issues,
accept
that's
what you
fine.
got?
I just wanted to make sure y'all were aware how we came up with the time frame. Unless there's issues or concerns, please share them so I can share them with the staff.
So this page that you've got here, you got the early voting times and everything, and then on the general election day, you got those times.
I gave you two samples. This is what we're gonna start putting on our social media and in the newspaper to notify people. It's too early to notify, right now, but we'll start in September. Publicizing the dates and the times, make sure people are aware. And as you can see on one of them, we have absentee ballot requests can be received starting Monday on the 17th. That's when officially we can start receiving absentee ballot requests, and then the deadline to request or submit an application is October 23rd. So those are the 2 key voting dates that I want to make sure the public is aware of. And of course, October 5th is the deadline to register for the November election.
Okay. Well, you don't need anything from us,
No, sir.
do you?
No, sir, unless there's issues or concerns or questions.
Sounds good.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, next, I have a copy of the agreement with the city of Waycross. You know, next year will be a city municipal election. As you see from the existing agreement, it was signed in January 21. So we in that 6 year period. I'm communicating now with the county attorney so we can to redraft the agreement to make sure we've got outlined, you know, the do's and don'ts and, you know, what we'll be responsible for doing next year, because it'll be a full city election, mayor's election. And I want to make sure that the agreement between the city, county, and the Board of Elections is a pretty tight one, so we can know going into next year's election who's going to do what and how reimbursements will be made to the county. So I wanted to put that in your package for information purposes. Any questions on the agreement?
Pretty thorough.
Well, the draft we have is way more thorough than than the one we have existed. You know, just want to make sure everybody's on the same page, from the city clerk to our staff and everything. Okay.
When do you expect to sign it?
Well, it's in the attorney's hands now. We were able to draft it, giving the attorney at least a starting point about some of the things that we want to address, and then once she looks it over, you'll send it over to the county, the city, and go back and forth. And then if the city agrees, they will pass their resolution and they'll sign the intergovernmental agreement. It'll be sent over to the county commission. And then once all that's in the process, then of course y'all will vote on it also. So it'll be 3 parties signing: city, county, and then the Board of Elections will sign. So I'm hoping that by the first of the year, because in January, that's when the city starts their process of advertising the races that's going to be on their ballot and their qualifying fees. So I'm hoping that sometime before December, we'll have everything, lined up.
So the agreement in place right now is a 1-year deal, continuous until one of the parties want to change.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But traditionally, you want to keep it about 5 years because the laws change and everything, and so we're in that 5-6 year period right now, to where, especially before the next election, the next city election, to go ahead and tie up any loose ends.
Yeah, I think it's a good time. Okay. Next.
Okay, staff updates. As you know, on August 27th will be Laurie's last day. And so he served the county well for 11 years, and we will wish her well. Janae Barr was hired as the incoming elections specialist. She will start on Monday the 24th. That'll give us a few days before Laurie leaves for the full transition. Taylor will be moving over to Laura's position. She will be the elections clerk. She spent the last year training and learning, and I think she's ready to take it on. She's done a great job. The good thing about what happened, over the last year, Taylor being computer savvy, she had an opportunity to learn the EMS system. So that took a lot off me. And this new person also will be trained to do the EMS system. So that'll give us 3 people in the office that will be able to do the election night reporting, with confidence. Hopefully, and that'll give Miss Barr an opportunity in November to sit through. Taylor has really caught on to the process. I'm going to use Taylor to train Ms. Barr on the system. She's computer literate. So I'm confident, we have everybody that will be cross-trained. Of course, Janae will be cross-trained in doing the voter registration stuff. So we'll have everybody in the office being able to do everybody's job. So we have any people that's out for sicknesses or vacations, we shouldn't miss a beat one way or the other. So I'm excited about that. I'm looking forward to bringing the new lady on board, and looking forward to thanking Laura for her time. She's really been a help. She was there when I came on board, and she was able to guide me in the right direction. I joke a lot of times that Laura would always say, "Are you sure?" And I say, "Yeah, let's go to the code book." Because I believe in going to the code book, and so we would always do that. So that was her key words, key phrase. Are you sure? So I'm going to miss that, and but I know that Taylor's going to do the same thing. So I'm excited about that. The next, I want to give a recap of the tri-regional meeting that we had in Jessup. We had a really, really, really good meeting over there. I want to thank the Wayne County election office for hosting the 3 regions, and actually there were 4 regions. There was one, a couple people that was like, 200 miles away that came down for the meeting. And so we had a very good session. The state election board was there. Of course, the state gave updates. Me and the young lady over in Glenn County was able to give a presentation on better using AI in the office, in the election office. And of course, you can tell by the early voting times. Al was able to run that report in a matter of seconds. By taking the data and giving a good report, and so and I'm just trying to help other officers understand that a lot of what we do can be driven by data. And a lot of people, a lot of elections officers, a lot of people, period, are really reluctant to use AI. But I always tell the other officers that AI is not going to. What we do can't be replaced by AI. AI can't interact with the voters. It can't solve problems like that. It can help, with words, and help, edit and help do the analysis and data. And that's what we're using it. We're not using it to create widgets and, to make things. We're using it to be more efficient in our office. And I think that's what we've done here in Ware County. So I want to thank Al, and I will, when I get back to the office, I will let him know that I told y'all that I thanked him. So he'll get a kick out of that. But I appreciate Board Member Solomon Gaines and the chairman. They attended the meeting also. I wasn't expecting the chairman there. He popped up, with his hat on and everything, and I think y'all got something out of the meeting also. I thought it was a very, very good meeting. And so tomorrow we go over to Valdosta for their regional meeting. They're not in all regions, but whenever we able to go, we always go over to Valdosta to them, to Lowndes County, to see what they're doing differently and take part in their regional meeting. So their meeting's tomorrow over there. And a couple of little small things. I just put the letter here. I was appointed as the website committee chair for the Gabriel Association. They taught me into doing that last year.
Congratulations.
That's a lot of work, but as you know, but our association is all, we don't have staff. It's all individual election officers doing what they can to help the association grow. So that's my little part of doing that. I just wanted you to have that letter.
So, Mr. Nelson, in light of our conversation with Mr. Spencer over here before the meeting started, I expect to see visible results from you being on this committee.
Me too.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And finally, put a copy of the letter that the state sent out through DDS. they DDS started doing a lot of audits on their what they call it, True ID, True Driver License, True ID driver license system, and they sent out letters to the DDS, the driver licenses people that did not have the all the information to prove their citizenship. And so, in their cooperation with the state, the SOS, they notified the SOS that these people are in question, and so the SOS identified people around the state that may not be citizens. I think they jumped the gun. We had 4 in Ware County that was identified. I can tell you right now, 2 of them we know for a fact were born in Georgia. Okay, that were misidentified. One gentleman is over 100 years old, and it comes on good information that he is a citizen. So, the 3rd person wasn't born in Georgia. The 4th person wasn't born in Georgia. So that person would have to show their birth certificate or passport or something before they vote. But now they will be allowed to vote in November. They would have to vote provisional, and then they will be given until that Friday to prove their citizenship. Y'all know how I feel about it. I'm kind of deterred about it only because the state did come down with a directive after this first initial letter came out and said, if we have definite proof, knowledge that they are citizens, we can go ahead and take the pending off of them and make them active. Beforehand, they were saying we didn't have that authority until we get the paperwork in our hands. I hated it because we have 2 people that we know that were born in Georgia that I'm glad that we're allowed to go ahead and make them active because we have definite knowledge that they were born in Georgia. But if the state didn't give us that authority to do that, they would have to. I'm going to be honest. They would have to pay a poll tax, $26, whatever it costs to get their birth certificate, or try to find their birth certificate to prove it. And I hate that because even if they are allowed to vote provisional on election day, and if they did not have their birth certificate on hand, they would have to pay $26 in order to say their vote counts. Mm-hmm. And I just don't think that's right. I think through the system or whatever, I think they jumped the gun and trying to rush to make sure everybody was a citizen, and they disenfranchising real voters, and especially the guy that's over 100 years old. Mm-hmm. And been registered ever since the 60s. He's been active ever since the 60s. And now being 100 years old, does he have his birth certificate? Or in a lot of cases, people that was that old they had midwives. Mm-hmm. They were born not in the hospital. Mm-hmm. Do they have birth certificates? I don't know. And so,
Mr. Chairman,
you have something to say?
Yes, sir. Didn't that gentleman also serve in the military?
I'm not sure about our person, but the one over in Glenn County, 102 years old, served in the military, retired teacher, educator. All this time, this person here was registered. I think he first registered in 1958. Been an active voter ever since. And all of a sudden, he gets a letter saying that he has to prove his citizenship in order to continue voting. Mm. And this guy's in a long-term health care facility. So whether he have access to this or, and that was one of the stories that Glenn County told. And, Wayne County has a 101-year-old person, 100-year-old plus person over there also. And so as of yesterday, it was discovered that it was a little over 50 people that was on that list that the state already identified that it was a mistake to send them letters. They didn't tell us which ones, because I'm only concerned about Ware County 4. So statewide, there was over 50 people that received letters that should not have received letters because, just like our two, the health department said they were born in Georgia. They got, you know, but they're going to receive a letter. So yeah, I will reach out to them, especially the 100-plus-year-old gentleman here in Ware County. I'm going to reach out to this person, hopefully go to the house, because I don't want this person to get that letter and think that's the end of it and doesn't vote at all. You know, and sometimes people may not even open up their letters, you know, because there's so much spam going on out there now.
Mhm.
So unless y'all have an issue, I will make an effort later this week to go to their residencies that's registered, you know, their addresses that registered in the system and reach out to them because they've already received a letter from the state saying, you know, you need to provide, you know, one of these 20 documents, you know, to prove your citizenship. And if you don't have it, you can do an affidavit. You can have affidavit signed by 2 people that know for a fact you are an American citizen. But my question is that 100-plus-year-old guy, how many people would he know that was around to see that he was born in America? You know, so affidavit sounds great, but it's not practical, you know. So unless there's any issues with that, I will reach out and go to their homes and try to clear this up. You know, because at first I thought about sending them a letter, but I'm like, well, another letter on top of their letter is not going to do any good. So I will reach out and, you know, make a visit to their homes and hopefully I can, you know, talk to them. I'd rather do that first and then them come in and vote, even that 100-plus guy, whether he's, you know, mobile or not, I'm not sure, but I would hate for one of these people to come in who didn't open up the envelope, and all of a sudden we got to say, "Are you a citizen?" You know, I think that just builds mistrust in the system. So I know I'm rambling right now, but I was a little upset. You know, knowing not just us, a lot of the counties were upset about the process because every county pretty much got a story like this that they know for a fact. You know, people on their list. Now, mind you, there probably are a couple people, you know, out there, you know, that's non-citizens, you know, and of course we don't want non-citizens to vote, but I don't want to disenfranchise good voters for the sake of trying to find 1 or 2 non-citizens, and then we turn away good voters from the polls from doing their constitutional duties to vote. I am through rambling right now, Mr. Chairman. I will take questions.
Mr. Chairman,
Chairman.
is this the actual letter that they
Yes.
received?
Yes, that's the letter that the Secretary of State's office sent out to every person that was on the list statewide.
There are 20 ways to show citizenship, according to this letter.
You ever lost your wallet?
Have I ever lost my wallet? No.
I did when I was young,
Mm-hmm.
and everything in that wallet I had to resubmit for. It's a pain in the rear.
I bet it is.
And I believe this is the same thing when you start looking at, especially elderly people.
Yeah, I was looking at the census records part of that too. It says federal or state census records, which indicates U.S. citizenship or a U.S. place of birth. That's number 15. There's so many ways to prove citizenship. I don't understand how people are concerned about people voting who are not legal residents. Because if they come through the registry, they have to have one of these forms of citizenship in order to vote. I guess it happens, but I just don't understand how it happens. That's all
Anybody
I
else?
have.
Mr. Chairman,
we
the
do.
superintendent was talking about midwife. They used to write everything in the Bible, and you had to keep it. Cause I know when I was in high school, I went to put my driver's license. That was all I had. was the Bible. A friend of mine living in Kingston went to the military, and he showed the Bible. They wouldn't accept him then. He had to go and he had to pay all kind of money to get this, because y'all know it was later up in the years before they start birth certificates. And that, when he was talking about this man 100 years old, I know what he going through with, because I know what that man went through with. But he served our kind, he served our country. But it says people still use that Bible. Because every child that was born that was a midwife is in the Bible. That's why they tell you to keep the family Bible. So I know what this man is going through with. I would love to go with you to talk to him. I would.
I'd be fine.
I know what he's going through with.
But I just say, Mr. Chairman, since you brought that up, it's funny that you brought that up, because when my mom passed a few years ago, going through her stuff, you know, I saw this little thing wrapped up, and I opened it up. It was a Bible from her, you know, from my great grandmother. And I started looking through it, and it had the, you know, the names. It stopped around my mom's time, but still, it had the names of people that was born and this and that. It was, I thought that was so unique. It was a treasure I found in the house. You know, that was nice.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. The last statement in number 19 states that a statement signed by the physician or midwife who was in attendance at the time of birth. So I don't know, midwives sign off on it. I'm not sure how that went. I hate to say it was before my time. So I'm not sure, but that is an acceptable form of identification. If there was a statement signed by the physician, even if it's in a Bible, if a midwife enters that in a Bible and signs off on it, then that's a form of identification, according to number 19.
And I sure wouldn't want to ask that 100-year-old guy, because
no.
he's
No.
you know,
That's interesting,
is
though.
he
Very
still,
interesting information.
you know, friends with his physician or something, or midwife. You know, I seriously doubt that person is around, or anyone around that can verify that he was born over 100 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we beat that horse enough.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm sorry.
Ms. Preston, you got anything?
No,
Last
sir.
call.
I don't have anything.
Ms. Marion,
Nothing?
Ms. Ludine,
Nothing.
Mr. Vernon,
And
Thank God for another day.
nothing either. Our next meeting is scheduled for September the 8th, 2026 in this facility. If there's nothing further, we have completed our agenda. And if there's no objection, we shall adjourn, since we've been through all our business. Without objection, meeting adjourned.